Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Member Thomas and Member Leach are absent. Approval of the agenda. We have an addition 7J, approved placement of library custodian on wage scale. Is there any other changes or corrections?
No, I just had the updated resolution for that fire equipment.
Okay. Council have anything?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that addition?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
A motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the January 16th, 2019 regular meeting. Is there any changes, corrections, clarification needed? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 16th, 2019 regular meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane,
Second.
second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, our public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. It now brings us to reports and presentations. Ambulance year-end report. Kathy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm here with the 2018 fourth quarter and year-end report for the Sauk Center Ambulance. So we had a record-breaking year for 2018. We had 897 total runs and calls for the year, which is up. 2017, we had a total of 737, so it's over 150 more this year. October, we had total of 70 runs and calls. 57 of them were billed out for a total of $68,010 or $68,101. Of those 57 billed calls, there was 25 basic life support transports and 4 advanced life support transports. And of the 70 calls, 14 were no loads. So 70 calls in 2018 in October, and that's up from 2017, we had 66. And then in 2008, 10 years ago, it was only at 45. So we keep increasing. For November, we had a total of 85 runs or calls. 21 of those were no loads. 64 of those were billed out at a total of $79,853. And of those 64, 26 were basic life support transports and 10 were advanced life support transports. So 85 total for November, which is up from 2017, we had 62. And 10 years ago, we were at 38 runs for that same month. December, our total number was 69 runs and calls. Of those, 59 were billed out at a total of $64,185. 21 were basic life support transports, 8 were advanced life support transports, and 10 of those were no loads or canceled calls. So 69 total in December. In 2017, we were at 45, and 10 years ago, the same time frame was at 52 calls. So like I said, it's 897 total runs for the year. 694 of those were billed out. So for year-end, total billed out was $804,061 some odd cents. Transport receiving facilities, of course, our local hospital is the number one, followed by St. Cloud Hospital, and then it's all spelled out, all the different facilities we've taken patients to throughout the year. For the no loads and canceled calls, crashes still remain the number one no load situation. Falls and lift assists is another high one. Standbys for fires, it's a Stearns County protocol that they page out ambulance for standbys at any structure fires, so. Special events and details for the fourth quarter, we did 2 escorts for the girls' swim team when they went to state. We had 1 demolition derby for Community Connections and a football game standby. Mutual aid, we had 2 mutual aid requests from North Ambulance out of Alexandria, so we responded into their primary service area 2 different times and took patients to Alexandria Hospital for them. And just miscellaneous, we had 2 hospital contract transfers, which go to nursing homes, private residences. Those can be hospice patients that we have a contract with, or somebody that just doesn't have anybody to take them home from a hospital stay, so we'll pick them up and then we contract through them where they pay us a stipend to do that for them. And then we had 1 air care scene landing where the helicopter met us on scene and they took the patient because it was a critical patient, and then we have a contract with them as well where we bill out a certain amount and that helps us recover some of the costs of our personnel and equipment that we used on scene. So the majority of our patients were male, 49%, and female was 41%, but then we have that almost 10% or which are unknown, which is those no loads or cancel calls that are not just, there's no sex on those. Age, you can see the 40%, about 40% of our patients are 65 years of age or older. We've got all the different age groups listed. 5 to 9 looks like that's only 1%. That's like our lowest percentage right there. 5 to 9 years of age, but it's more the 65 years of age and older that we deal with the most. And then the counties we responded into for the year, Douglas County was less than 1% of our calls, Pope County less than 1%, and Todd County was just over 11% of our calls, and the remainder of 87% are in Stearns County in the city of Sauk Center. Any questions for me?
Questions?
No.
Comments?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ambulance Department year-end billing report. Tim?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As Kathy said, this was a record year for our service. I'd like to take just a couple seconds and thank the staff that we have. A lot of people call us volunteers, but when we're almost 900 calls a year, it's a lot more than a volunteer service. We have a dedicated staff and their families also, so I'd like to thank them. With the 2018 collection report, as Kathy said, we billed out 694 patients. As you know, we do not bill out any patients that we don't transport. We billed out a total of $804,061.44 worth of ambulance bills. We do have a contract with Expertise Billing out of the cities that does the majority of our billing to insurance companies. They collected a majority of our what we collected, which was $454,405.28. We also collected some from revenue recapture, and then also once in a while we do some transports for Central Care Hospital in Sauk Center, and we just have a little contract with them where they pay us directly. We did adjust, an adjustment to people that don't know is a federal mandated adjustment to an ambulance bill. It's kind of a write-off. Most of them come from Medicare and Medicaid. And we are adjusted $267,748.54. We also had $50,649.27 of return files. Those are files that our billing company for some reason could not collect, so they return it to us, and then we file them with a collection agency or the revenue recapture program through the state of Minnesota. We did collect a little over $11,000 through that revenue recapture program. We still have just shy of $40,000 in that program that need to be collected. And lastly, the active billing that Expert T Billing has in their office are 246 files that equal $175,392.59. Typically, it'll take 3-4 months for an insurance company to pay off a bill, so that's why there's a lag in that. So, any questions with that?
Questions? No. Comments? I know there is one action item coming up
Yep,
for the write-off, so.
yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Fire Department Annual Report. Steve?
Evening, Mayor, excuse me, evening, Mayor and Council. The 2018 Sauk Center Fire Department's annual report. We'll start with response calls. In 2018, we had 20 structure fires compared to 11 in 2017. Grass fires were 7 in 2018 compared to 12 in 2017. Medicals and rescue calls, we had 16 this year and 12 in 17. Vehicle accidents and fires were 25 this year compared to 23. Gas, smoke, and alarm calls were 21 compared to 17. False or canceled calls were 22 this year compared to 10 in 2017. And service calls were 3 and 3 for a total of 114 calls compared to 88 in 2017, so we were up 26 calls. So, response calls billed, we billed $19,565. Response calls received in 2017 was $1,300.88. Response calls received in 2018 were $10,558.18. Unpaid was $8,695, and collections and write-offs was $24.95. Grants, reimbursements, and donations. We got a $400 donation from the Minnesota National Bank, $100 from Mike and Nancy No. Sauk Center Fire Relief was $102,000. Sauk Center Fire Relief was $100,002. FEMA was $126,790 for a total of grants, reimbursements, and donations of $229,290. No firefighters retired in 2018, and we hired no firefighters in 2018. That's it. Any questions?
Questions? No?
Okay.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Park Board report. Vicki?
Okay, the Sauk Center Park Board met in regular session last night, Tuesday, February 5th at 5 p.m. We had a few items on the agenda. We did welcome our new member, Roger Harrison. That was his first meeting. They are going to recommend the City Council support the outdoor recreation grant for the fitness park. This will be an action item at the next council meeting. And also, they did recommend a park dedication fee for the new plat on the railroad property. And they are recommending that the city advertise for summer seasonal park employee because our park employee that seasonally comes back is not coming back this year. They did review playground options for the J.C. Park. They looked at some volunteer opportunities for the Safe Routes to School. We did apply for that grant. And also, we'll be starting the interviews for the campground attendant. I think Diane volunteered to help with that process. And they're looking at new signage, the Sinclair Lewis Park directional sign that we take the bottom down to hang the wreath on at Christmas time, and then they're going to look at new language for that. And also, we have an opportunity for some fill for the sledding hill that is on 2nd Street North. We're going to look and see whether that will be feasible to do that. Looking at the campground office options because we'll be having a new campground attendant and whether it's still feasible to have them go in people's campers or if we want to have a separate building for that. And then also talked about the dog park is up and running, which you are aware, and there's an open house or a grand opening, I think, being scheduled for sometime in May. And also the community garden planning is starting, so if anybody wants to be involved in that, Facebook, Sauk Center Community Garden. So that was kind of the park board. We don't have any action items tonight, it'll be at future meetings.
Okay, any questions, comments? Then we'll move on to the EDA report.
The EDA met today at noon in their regular session. They just had 2 items to talk about. They are recommending finalizing the deferred loan and repayment agreement with JAMMDD for their energy updates, electrical and plumbing code deficiencies, and asbestos abatement. So they did get a chance to look at those exact numbers, and it looks like we'll have an agreement of about $28,000, and those numbers will, that final execution of that will come before you at the next meeting. And also, they did review the preliminary plat of the railroad property. Not so much they have approval of that plat, but that the EDA is what's working on that development, so I want to keep them in the loop on that. So the action that we would have for you from the EDA won't be till next meeting.
Questions? Okay, we'll move on to action items. 7A, Ambulance Department Annual Medicare Adjustment.
This is the adjustment that Tim DeShane spoke about just a few minutes ago, and this is just follow-up to the ambulance billing report. It requires the city to approve the year-end adjustments and write-offs, and that 2018 amount is $267,748.54, and so we're requesting to approve that receivable adjustment for the department.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve the receivable adjustments for the Sauk Center Ambulance Department as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane.
I'll second.
Joe, second. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2019-07, approving purchase of SCBA equipment.
And if I could refer you to the updated attachment that was passed out tonight, we have the updated numbers in there. As you know, on December 19th, the City Council approved advertising for bids for the purchase of SCBA equipment. This is self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire department. The funding for this purchase is primarily through a grant from FEMA. 3 vendors expressed interest, and they demonstrated their equipment to the committee of the department, who reviewed the specifications and they evaluated the packs. Some of the evaluation included pack comfort, face mask comfort, ease of use, durability, battery life, warranty, face mask visibility, and initial and overall cost. Bids were advertised and opened on Thursday, January 31st at 11 a.m. at City Hall. We had 2 that did submit timely bids, Clary's safety equipment for $122,945, and Alex Air apparatus was $122,352. Where I have with Quick Connect on there, it's because the Clary's included that and the Alex Air did not, so we had to adjust their bid so they were apples to apples. So after consideration, it's the committee's recommendation to purchase the 3M Scott Air Packs from Clary's Safety Equipment. These are better user comfort with both the face piece and the harness assembly. They work with the department's existing fill station without requiring adapters. They do recognize the packs are $593 more than the competitor from Alex Air. However, given the 15-year life of the packs, the committee feels the above reasons outweigh the additional cost. So what we're looking at to do tonight is to approve Resolution 2019-07, approving the purchase and accepting the bid for the SCBA equipment from Clary's Safety Equipment.
So we're not required to take the lowest bid?
We are not.
Okay.
And I spoke directly to FEMA about that, and they said, no, we have to pick what's best for your department.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2019-07, approving purchase and accepting bid for SCBA equipment?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approve resolution 2019-08, approving purchase of safety equipment.
The 2019 Fire Department budget, they budgeted for the replacement of equipment, which everybody knows of, like the Jaws of Life type cutting equipment, so just so you have that in your mind. The new equipment will be battery-driven versus the older hydraulic version, will have interchangeable batteries with the other equipment. We did receive 2 written quotes from qualified vendors, Alex Apparatus and Clary's Safety Equipment. The bids came in at $29,955 and $29,930. Both vendors demonstrated their equipment. The Alex Apparatus equipment, which is the Hearst brand, matches the specs of the department more closely. It is recommended for purchase. And also they felt that, the department felt that repairs and parts would be more readily available with the local vendor. So the action requested is to approve Resolution 2019-08, authorizing the purchase of the Hearst equipment from Alex Apparatus.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2019-08, authorizing purchase of Hearst equipment from Alex Apparatus?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, Chair will second it. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7D, approve proceeding with development of hiring list for firefighters.
We have one additional item for the fire department, and that is a firefighter hiring list. With the potential retirement of firefighters in the department, Chief Moritz is requesting permission to advertise for firefighter candidates to create a hiring list. Upon receipt of applications and following interviews and testing, candidates will be placed on a list for future hire, which could range anywhere from immediately to 6 months or so, depending on the needs of the department. So what we're really doing here is just starting to get the word out and to advertise for it, and we'll come back with some more definitive timelines at a later date. So what we're looking to tonight is just kind of approving the advertisement and for the placement on the list.
Questions? Do I have a motion to approve the advertisement for firefighters for placement on a hiring list?
I'll make a motion.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Joe, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7E, approve proceeding with development of hiring list for part-time officers.
I did include into your packet a memo from Police Chief Brian Fredericks, and the request is to add to the agenda permission to look at hiring 2 part-time police officers. The reason for this is the current part-time officers are very limited in their availability. One officer, Brian Thorstad, who we hired, is working almost full-time for another agency. Chance Kostreba is just about finishing college, will be looking for full-time work himself. Matt Mormon, who is part-time on our list due to emergency backup, but he's working full-time in another department. And so we're getting to that our part-time people just are not available. He did talk to Chief Craig Moss at the Melrose PD, and he believes that if the timing might work out, that they would be willing to share the cost of adding. And we've had success with that before where we share an officer, so between the 2 of us, we give them enough hours that they stick around. And so what we'd really like to do is just start the process of advertising for part-time, because we recognize that we're not able to cover shifts that we need to cover because our officers aren't available. So we're just looking to approve the advertisement for the part-time officers.
Questions? Concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the advertisement for the part-time police officers?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, second. Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approve pay request 7, Breitbach Construction.
We do have pay application 7. This is for the 2018 capital improvement project, the one up by the hospital. This pay request is $6,930.99. You will see that we have paid to date $1,689,595.77. So we are about halfway through paying for this project. And so this is just a kind of a work that has been done like the end of November to the end, or to the first part of December. So there was very little work being done, but this is the payment. And he says 6. I'm sorry, I called it 7. It's actually pay request number 6.
Okay. Questions? Do I have a motion to approve pay request number 7 to Breitbach Construction for $6,930?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Joe,
I'll second.
second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7G, approve resolution 2019-09, approving property purchase and lot split.
So this is, will be very familiar to you. This is the property out on the east side of town where on January 16th, you authorized us to enter into a purchase agreement for approximately the 2 acres, which is 66 feet wide by 1,200 feet long, which could eventually become a roadway. At this point, it's just going to be a parcel that the city would own. The purchase agreement was entered into at the agreed-upon price of $15,000. Closing is expected to occur concurrently with the sale of the parent parcel, I'll call it, on or about May 3rd. Approval is needed for the split of the parcel from the parent parcel and authorization to execute the closing documents. This is also part of that tentative approval of that detachment. So it kind of is all looped together, but this I need a specific authorization to execute the closing documents and the lot split so that I can send that to the county. So that's what I'm asking for, is Resolution 2019-09, authorizing the minor subdivision and the execution of the closing documents.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2019-09, authorizing the lot split and further authorizing execution of closing documents?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane,
I'll second.
second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approve code enforcement process. No,
Did we skip one?
we skipped one on here,
Stormwater utility?
yeah,
Yeah.
Now,
they got them flip-flopped, didn't they?
oh. Are they backward in the packet?
I think they are.
Which one do we want to go to?
Let's go to, the code enforcement process, that way I stay in order.
I don't even have it in my packet.
I don't have it in my packet either.
Okay.
Okay, well then, we'll table that until the next one.
Yep.
By desert consensus. Approve stormwater utility credit policy.
So at an earlier meeting, the policy committee was directed to complete a proposed policy for stormwater utility credits, and that was something that was in our 2012 ordinance, that when we created the stormwater utility, that we could make a credit policy. We did meet 2 different times, one with the original policy committee and then with the new policy committee. So we did review everything in detail. Keith Yap did come up and visit with us about that. This policy attached it implements a process for property owners to apply for a credit and the criteria that we need to meet to qualify. So in other words, your stormwater utility bill that you have, that you get billed with your PUC bill that comes back to the city, there's a avenue for people to apply for credits. And the reason they would get a credit is they would do a best management practice, or BMP, on their property, whether it's ponds, whether it's to help with infiltration, whether it's to help with that initial sheet of water coming off the property. There's different things that people can qualify for. This would only apply to like apartments or commercial or industrial. We're not going to have to do this for house, which has very limited. So we had maximum overall credit available is 50%. You can have a quality credit of 25% or a quantity credit of up to 25%, and that would be for a 10-year event. If you could handle a 100-year storm capacity, then it could be a 15%. And then industrial could get up to 50%. But how that works is, when you say up to 50%, it sounds like quite a bit, but it's like you take all your impervious of your lot, and then you say half of it or 25% of it you can get to go to a pond. If only 25% of your property is going to a pond, then that 25% gets applied against the 50, so it keeps deleting it down, so you might get 12 to 18%. I did put some examples in there for you. We did also look at the impact of the stormwater utility fund, because we do have some commitments out of the fund that need to be made, and I think the policy committee felt like this was something that the fund would still be okay by allowing these credits, but yet by allowing the credits, we were encouraging people to take care of their own stormwater. So that was kind of the trade-off that we have there. This is an encouragement or an inducement or enticement to get people to take care of their own stormwater rather than shedding it onto the city. And a couple of the things that they did change that some of the other cities had, some of the other cities had like a credit for direct discharge to a river because the city may have been on a river, and we felt like a direct discharge wasn't exactly what we were looking for. We were looking for like a water quality improvement for the property. And we had one error on here that Joe caught and pushed her and let me know about, so that has been corrected. I think Councilman Dave Thomas had some questions about it, and I answered his email. He hasn't received back to me. I think he initially had requested that we maybe table this until he can get back here. So I just wanted to put that out there if you guys want to do that, or if you feel comfortable with what we have. And if you have any detailed questions about it, Keith is here to answer it. He can speak a lot more intelligently about it than I can.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Joe, you sat in on it.
Yeah.
Is it pretty much straightforward, or do you have any concerns?
No, I think we discussed it at the committee and felt it was gonna be a fair credit to our property owners, and, you know, we made the adjustments we thought would fit our community, and
Okay,
I think we feel comfortable with this proposal.
okay. And like Vicky said, Councilman Thomas did have some questions as far as his concerns, and we've reached out and Vicky answered those questions. They were all good questions. It was just, I think that we've been working on this for almost a year, so.
I think his questions kind of had more to do with if we calculate how much water is coming off your property, and if it goes from one house to a next, like the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill type scenario. And really, we're not calculating how much water relief, we're calculating what % of your impervious is being treated. You know, so not necessarily calculating out the quantity of water that you may be shedding, but how much of, as a % that you're keeping on your property. So, and maybe perhaps that answered his questions and he's okay with it. I can't answer that.
Right. So the councils can either approve the policy or table it for 2 weeks. So Mr. Thomas has a chance to get his, if he has any other concerns, but as far as I'm concerned, we've gone long enough, and
Yeah.
we've had 2 different policy committees look at it, and this is what we come up with. So,
I'm comfortable with it.
do I have a motion to approve the policy implementing the stormwater utility credit policy?
I'll make motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Motion by Joe, second by Diane. Last minute concerns? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approved placement of library custodian on wage scale.
When the city we completed our most recent compensation study and all the employees were placed on a wage and step scale, positions with 20 or more hours were assigned a grade. Because of the position of library custodian was not evaluated at that time, the position is not currently on the scale, and the custodian requested that the position be evaluated. And so we did have that done, and it was received a rating of 1, or a grade 1 of the scale. So according to city policy, when a position is graded, or if a position changes grades, then the employee is placed on the step system at the next closest wage. And so for this position, that proposed step would be step 1 of that grade. This would be the only position left in the city that's not on a scale, because at the time we did that, seasonal people weren't. And now the seasonal are on a scale, all the full-time people are on the scale, and we have this one outlier that's not. So since she requested it, we did have it done. So we're requesting to approve the placement of the library custodian on the wage scale at grade 1, step 1, and effective February 1st.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the placement of the library custodian on wage scale at grade 1, step 1, effective February 1, 2019?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Unfinished business. Rental inspection code.
So I put this on the agenda because, it's been brought up several times in recent history that the city should consider licensing rental properties, and this would be to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare of the renters. There's a lot of cities our size that have implemented the rental ordinance, which requires minimum standards to be met and procedures for licensing. These are minimum standards like egress windows, fire extinguishers, those types of things. We're not looking at, how well it's constructed necessarily, but just those minimum safety criteria. So if the council wishes to pursue rental licensing, you should direct the policy committee or an ad hoc committee, which could be any 2 members that have an interest, to establish the criteria and bring back a policy or ordinance to the city council. And I kind of laid it out. First we'd have to establish the criteria, we'd have to identify all the rental properties, and we'd have a public hearing and outreach to all of those owners, and have an implementation timeline and adoption. So it wouldn't be so easy as having the policy committee come back and have an ordinance, it's done. I mean, this is going to impact quite a few people, so we do need to have that outreach. So that's kind of the establishment of the ordinance side. And then we also would have the licensing side. So how does somebody get a license? How do we handle the inspections? And what are the fees going to be? So these are all things that that committee would work on and bring it back. But I didn't want to take it any farther than this unless I had the city council, as a collective body say, yes, we want to pursue a rental ordinance and set up a committee to work on it.
What's the council's thoughts?
I think it's a good idea.
I agree. I think it's something worth looking into and making sure we're offering quality homes to our prospective renters in our community.
And this isn't just homes, this is apartment houses, anybody that rents anything out for people to live in. The public safety is number one, and by inspections means that fire extinguishers get changed out or checked and make sure they're gonna work when they need them, if they need them, along with, if you're gonna rent out the basement of your house, you have to get it inspected and make sure there's an egress window so nobody gets trapped.
Right.
Or there's at least 2 ways to get out of it, I'd hate to see anybody get hurt or killed because the city doesn't have anything in place that would, oversee this. It'll all come back to us in the wrong way. So,
What happens too is that, we here at the city get calls from people and we have to refer them to Stearns County Public Health because we don't have it in our code. And most of the calls that we get from people might be something like, something is broken and they never fixed it and a couple of years have gone by, or they don't have a smoke detector, or, there, a lot of things are quite minor. And if we had an inspection process, those things would all be caught and that would virtually eliminate that. And one of the other calls that we do get a fair amount of is people concerned about mold. And so that's something else that we'd have to look at. So those are kind of the types of things that we get complaints on. And I think that if we had an inspection process, that those things would be caught up front, and then we wouldn't, and then the renters wouldn't have to deal with it.
so do I have a motion to direct the committee to review and recommend policy on a rental ordinance?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Any other last comments or concerns?
Yeah, who's the committee?
Policy,
Policy committee,
Yeah.
I would think, would start. And once we get that in place, then it would go to the licensing, right? Or should operations take care of that, or policy take care of all of it?
We'd probably just do it all as
Do
one.
it all at once. Okay. One of the things before we go to the vote is, Long Prairie just did this last year. And what they did is, it's a fee. If you want to rent something out, you come in, you get the license. The only way you can get the license is have someone inspect it. You pay the inspector based on who we, the city, would recommend as an inspector. And then after that, that part of it's all left out of the city's hands. And then it would be the licensing afterwards. And I personally like the way that works,
Yeah.
because then it's not a budget item as far as the inspector and paying a wage for that. It's the people that are wanting to rent have to do it, so. We have a motion to direct the policy committee to review and recommend the policy on rental ordinance. Motion by Diane, seconded by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Campground attendant position.
We received applications for the campground attendant until January 31st. Interviews will be conducted in the coming weeks. We'd like a recommendation to the city council on March 6th, but that's my world of utopia. We probably won't have it till the second meeting of March, but just kind of an update for you. There's no action. It's information only.
Okay. Joint Airport Zoning Board appointments.
So the Stearns County has appointed 2 representatives to come to the Joint Airport Zoning Board. The council, of course, has 2 representatives on the board. The township has not yet recommended a representative. They're having their attorney review, but I believe they will send a representative. So the zoning ordinance will be completed before the end of 2019. And there's really, it takes like 3 hearings in front of this board. Most of the time is when we submit things to MnDOT and wait for review. So there's lags. You meet and then you do things and then you have to wait a couple months to hear back and then you meet again. So it won't be a lot of work, but it'll take some time to get it done.
Okay, questions?
No.
Okay. New business, complete count committee.
Complete count for Census 2020. So representatives from Census 2020, they've been in touch with the city staff regarding forming a complete count committee, it's called, in the city of Sauk Center, and that helps with Census 2020 outreach. The committee helps create awareness in the community and surrounding area about the importance of a complete count. Some examples of what the committee would do would be media briefings. You might have rallies, coordinate with youth, classroom resources, newsletters, social media. There's actually quite a few jobs that go out with that complete count census. So this is informational at this point. I have got some other information I'll be forwarding out to you, and we'll kind of decide exactly how involved and how much we want to get involved in the complete count. But it's important to get a good number because a lot of the things that happen to cities happen based on your population. You know, like your LGA formula, your LGA allotment, state aid, a lot of those kinds of things are based on your population. So it is really important to get a complete count. So if anybody has a distinct interest in wanting to be on that committee, you know, we're also looking for a lead of the committee. So I'll get more information to you and we'll talk about it at another date.
Okay. 9B, proposed street closure for experienced Sauk Center art crawl.
So Visit Sauk Center is working on a potential 2019 event to coordinate with Ladies Night Out that would include what they call an art crawl. That's an event that allows artistic vendors to set up shop in the street. And Visit Sauk Center is proposing the event to include the closure of Sinclair Lewis Avenue. However, the city code restricts the number of times per year that closure is allowed. It says encumbering public ways in our code is what it is. It's prohibited, but it does have some exceptions. It says the exception shall not, or the encumbering being prohibited does not apply to a maximum of 3 annual civic celebrations, 2 of which are sponsored by Sauk Center Chamber of Commerce and are commonly known as Crazy Days, and 1 is Sinclair Lewis Days, and then we have the 1 every 5th year that's the all-school reunion. But because Crazy Days is part of Sinclair Lewis Days, they're saying can't that just be one community event that opens up the other community event for a potential art crawl. And so this is, she's going to visit Sauk Center. Pam is going to be here at the next council meeting with her annual report from the CVB, and we might discuss this a little more at that time, but I just wanted to bring it up so you can consider looking at that, seeing if maybe that's something that we would want to do to try to get one additional event to happen in Sauk Center this year. So there's no action at this point. It's something that you'll be discussing a little more at the next meeting.
Okay. Any questions about that? No. Okay. That now brings us to our consent agenda. We have a schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $156,485.37.
508.
No, actually it got changed because we had one sale that included sales tax, so it
Okay.
got decreased.
Thank you.
You guys didn't get copied on that. For a total of the same, $156,485.37. We have resolution number 2019-10, resolution accepting contributions of $165 from the men's card playing group to be allocated to the senior center. on behalf of the city, thank the men's card playing group for that donation. We have gambling application for exempt permit request from the Sauk Center Snow Cleats for a raffle on March 16th, 2019 at the American Legion Club. We have a gambling application for exempt permit request from the Sauk Center Chamber of Commerce for a bingo on April 13th, 2019 at Elmer's Restaurant, Bar, and Event Center. And we have Sauk Center Youth Hockey Association has submitted an application and permit for a one-day temporary on-sale liquor license for a concert at the Sauk Center Civic Arena on March 30th, 2019. The fee and certificate of insurance is being provided. Do we have any questions or concerns with the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Informational items, safety committee meeting minutes are in your packet. Is there any questions with that? Hearing nothing, this brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. Oh,
A motion by Diane.
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.